Alright, what's up guys? It's Mad Dog here, Mad Dog Gaming. Running the healer, Alcohealik, here for our Delhammer Dungeon group. Been asked to put together a small build video to show you what he's running with, how I run the heal for the group. For those of y'all that don't know what Delhammer is, we're a 4-man pre-built dungeon group. That's all we're going to level through is dungeons. We're going to start at level 16, go forth. We'll do builds 16, 25, and then every 10 levels after that probably. We'll just take you along the journey as we go, show you how we're building out, what we're changing as we go. The builds are going to be a little fluid. At 16 you don't have every skill, but let's dive into it here. We'll start with gear. Pre-made all crafted gear. This is low-level crafted gear, guys. This is stuff that get in a guild. ObsidianGuard.org. If you're not in a guild right now, you're looking for a guild, you need crafted gear. You need groups, you need people to do dungeons. You want to see through our runs that the crafted gear is absolutely the way to go. And having a set group of people that knows what they're doing, knows their roles, sticks to their roles, knows how to play together. That's very, very valuable. I can't stress that enough. But the right gear and the right skill setup does go a long way as well. So starting out, we're running a 5-piece Seducer set here. The Seducer, 2 pieces, 37 magic recovery, 3 items gives you 281. Max magicka, 4 items, it's 37 magic recovery. And the 5th item there reduces the magic cost of abilities by 8%. That's huge, guys. If you're looking at a healing build especially, you're going to be spamming your abilities a lot. Reducing the cost of them, getting them down there, that's pretty big. This piece here is just reinforced. Extra armor helps with anything. And on my enchantments for all of them, I'm running the Max Magicka enchantment on all 7 pieces here. You'll see it's all the way down. But that's self-explanatory, guys. The more magicka you have, the more you can cast your abilities. Plus, it also affects the damage of your abilities. So moving down, random just crafted through. You got Mundus Stone effects here, your divines. The traits basically at low level, especially at 16, if you're crafting your own, it's going to depend on what you have research. And that's kind of what I tried to go with on this gear to show you. You're going to end up with, with your traits on this, it's going to depend on what people have. Everything helps. Feet, there you got training, so it's going to get your skill line up a little bit better with it. Armor value is always good. Mundus Stone effects. Right now I don't have the Mundus Stone on one. I think I've got the spell resist, but we'll go over that in a minute. But increasing that's always good. So all of these things help. For main hand, for my weapon, for healing, run double restoration staff. The reason is I want to stay back. I want to keep a distance from them. And the passives for restoration staff's good. Plus heavy attacking is going to get my magicka back. And you'll notice what I did on this also is I put the absorb magicka enchantment. Just had it crafted. Shout of espresso for crafting that for me. It deals extra magicka damage and restores 36 magicka. So basically, heal, heavy attack, heal, heavy attack. You keep doing that, and your sustain's going to stay up. And then I put the increased weapon enchantment effect as the trait on this staff. So that's good. And you'll notice my second set here. So running a 2-handed weapon, you've got your 5-piece set that you can get. You have 7 pieces of armor. So 5 pieces of that goes to Seducers. That's what you call your main set. You run a main set and an off set for your crafted sets there. So you can only run 3 traits because you're using a 2-handed weapon on the other. But I chose my Magnus for my second trait, my second set there. 2 items adds 281 max magicka. 3 items gives me the magicka recovery. Once again, sticking with the same thing. As long as your healer has resources, then you're still in the fight. Your healer runs out of magicka, you're pretty screwed. Everybody starts dying. Everybody gets mad at the healer, and you get kicked out of the group. Not good. The rings and necklace here is just what you can buy at level 14. I go to the Mages Guild, find the Magus there, and buy your rings and your necklace from him. Went with the Arcane on both the rings, max magicka increased by 200, and then just went and bought these enchantments on this. It's just standard enchantment, guys, that you can get from the enchantment vendor here in town. that just reduce magic cost of spells. I put that on all 3 things. Once again, trying to get the cost of your spells down as much as possible so you can cast them more and keep everybody in the fight. You'll see on the necklace here that it's got the healthy enchantment, or the healthy trait on it. Increase maximum health by 220. The reason that's on there is just because that's the only, when you buy these necklaces from the vendor, that's all you're going to see is max health. But a little bit of extra sustain is not a bad thing, having a little bit higher health pool to start with. So that's pretty much it on your items. For food, obviously you want to run, that's only level 10 food, but it's still good. I had a lot of it, so I'm going to stick with it for this dungeon to show you that it's okay. But it's crafted food, crafted blue food. Once again, going back to have a guild, have somebody that can make you items, or learn to make it yourself. But increase your max health and max magic by a chunk for an hour. You want to keep that up at all times. It's vital. And then just keep some magic potions just in case. But you shouldn't, with this build and what's running here, you shouldn't be running low on magicka, but it's a good backup. I only run magic on my healer because if you're running Breath of Life and you're having to use a healing potion as a healer, you're doing something wrong. Okay, going on from there, getting down into the skills, into the meat of it. On your main bar here, we'll talk about where we're going. Right now, you'll notice I'm running 2 abilities from the Adric Spear line, and I'm running 2 abilities, one being the ultimate, from my Dawn's Wrath. And we'll start there and we'll explain that. What you're going for here on Adric Spear, you want 1 ability on this build as Adric Spear. I'm running Piercing Javelin. What that's going to do at this level, it will be done away with as soon as I get where I'm going. But at this level, it allows me to have a knockback and a little bit of extra range damage. But you do not, as a healer, I started off with this, you can't stress enough, focus on healing. Do not lay down. You have DPS in the group. Let them lay down the DPS. Your job is to heal and sustain. So you've got these 2 abilities here, Puncturing Strikes. It's the morph that's going to... no, it's not even morph. This is the starting ability on it. I've basically only got these 2 abilities on there to level up the Adric Spear line. Don't even use them. Don't waste your magic on them. You'll see they've got fairly hefty magic costs there. Don't waste your magic on them. Start if you're learning to heal. You're going to just waste magic, or you're going to run out and your group's going to die. This is the ability you're trying to get to, Spear Shards. Send your spear into the heavens to bring down a shower of divine wrath, dealing 649 magic damage to enemies in a target area. So you're laying down, you're able to kill trash mobs off of this. It throws up and disorients one of them for 6 seconds, which allows other abilities to proc for your DPS characters. But the big thing is, while active, an ally can pick up a spear shard, restoring 25% stamina, plus an additional 600 stamina over 10 seconds. So you're filling up not only their health bar, but you're allowing your tank and your melee DPS to keep their stamina going, which keeps them able to just keep spamming their abilities, gets their DPS up. You're like a battery. You'll hear Deltia from Deltia's Gaming. He'll throw that, and he calls this the battery build. It's what this build's built off of. It's pretty standard, guys. You're trying to keep everybody's bars full. You stand back, you keep everybody's bars full. You let the tanks soak the damage, and the DPS do DPS. If you're sitting back spamming your abilities, trying DPS as a healer, you're doing it wrong. But this does allow you to play and have a little DPS in there if all your magic is full and you're just bored. Passives on this. The only passive I really worry about at this level, because your skill points are where they are, is this Burning Light. Gives you a 25% chance to cause an extra 324 magic damage, and it will run off your spell damage. Just a little extra DPS. If you do throw a javelin in there or something, 1 skill point to be able to cause the extra damage. It doesn't hurt. It's good to have it. Only use this as a last resort. This isn't a priority passive. Don't go with this early. Moving on to the Dawn's Wrath tree. Really like this tree. It has a lot of good utility damage abilities. Starting with the ult. This is the ult. A lot of people are going to take your Restoring Light. I like Nova, and Nova morphed into Solar Prism. Call down a fragment of the sun, deal 590 magic damage each second to enemies in the target area, and reduce their damage by 30%. That's huge, guys. The less damage that your tank and your DPS is taking, the less you're having to heal. It's doing the same thing. Plus, if you haven't seen Nova in action, when Nova drops, it wrecks everything in there. It allows your tank to pull into that area of effect. It's sitting up for almost 10 seconds and just wrecking everything that's in there. And it has a sweep, once you go Solar Prison, an ally can activate Gravity Crush, dealing 2,067 magic damage to all enemies in the area and stunning them for 5 seconds. So basically a tank pulls a bunch of adds in there with the boss. You drop this kills all the adds. The boss is doing 30% less damage. Just good stuff, guys. It's really good. And you don't need the heal. You don't really need the heal ultimate, and I'll explain that in a minute. But you can heal with your normal abilities and never have to really use that. Reflective Light. Both of these abilities that I have in Dawn's Wrath are here right now leveling up this tree up for another ability, but we'll get to that in a second. Reflective Light, though, I do like this ability once it's morphed. Blast an enemy with a charge of radiant heat to burn them and up to 2 other nearby enemies. So on trash mobs, this will allow you to throw in there and do not necessarily AoE damage, but it is multi-target damage, so you can help take down trash mobs a little bit. Affected enemies take 732 flame damage and additional 1176 flame damage over 6 seconds, and their movement speed's reduced. So if the tank loses them, they're slower. It's a lot easier for him to run out there, grab them, and get them back, group back up. That's good. Plus, upon activation, you gain Major Prophecy, increasing your spell crit by 371. Spell crit affects crit heals. So this is up for 6 seconds. So pretty much on your rounds, if your Magicka can sustain it, you'll have to play your build. You'll have to learn your build. But if it can sustain it, keep this up. That spell critical is pretty big. And that becomes less important once you get your Mage Light. Once you have Mage Light running, that's not an effect, but we'll get to that in a minute because you'll keep Mage Light on at all times. And then that other ability, your Reflective Light, becomes less important then. But we'll get to that. Solar Flare, I keep it on the bar. I don't even think it's not on this bar now because I've got Inner Light running. The only thing Solar Flare you even buy that for is at lower levels. You want to get as much stuff on your bar as you're leveling up to this point as you can to try and get these trees going, because the other ability you want, these other two don't matter. They're DPS abilities. Ignore them. Ignore Solar Flare. Really, once Mage Light's running, you can kind of ignore Reflective Light. Don't need it. Let your DPS do their job. Let them DPS. So once I get this tree leveled up, the only ability you do want is Radiant Destruction. I know I say let the DPS, but the Jesus Beam here that you'll hear it referred to is too strong to ignore. Plus, this is used at the end of a fight during a burn phase. You only switch and start using Radiant Destruction at 25% health. Don't use it earlier because you're stuck in a channel for one, so you can't heal, and you're burning up your magic. So do not use this until 25%. Let the tank should be quarterback in the fight. Once the tank calls for the burn phase, then it's time to start throwing the Jesus Beam on them. And it does huge damage, guys. 2,681 magic damage over 3.4 seconds. But down below there, you see targets below 50% health take up to 330% additional damage. That's huge. You're talking 7,000 damage, 8,000 damage at level 16. That by the time I get that unlocked, because it takes 42 points to unlock it, by the time I get that unlocked, it'll be a lot higher. And for nuking down bosses, it's great. And like I said, during the burn phase, when everyone's using their executes, is when you want to be using that. But down here, for passives in the Dawn's Wrath tree, you've got Enduring Rays, increased duration of Dawn's Wrath abilities by 20% with the 2 points in it. That's a given. That's a necessary, because that your Nova, that your Radiant Destruction, both, that's 20% increase. Is huge. Prism, another big one. You really want everything in this one. Activating a Dawn's Wrath ability grants 2 additional ultimate. This can only occur once every 6 seconds, but that's building up to drop Nova more. Illuminate, great one, great one. Grants major sorcery to nearby allies, increasing spell damage by 5% for 10 seconds. So every time you activate Dawn's Wrath ability, you're giving that minor sorcery to you and your Magicka DPS, which should be back in the same area. They should be within range. They should be right around you. So increase it, you and their spell damage by 5%. It's huge. And then the Restoring Spirit, that's a given. Reduces Magicka stamina and ultimate ability cost by 2%. I think it's 4 or 5% at the second point. That goes without saying. That shouldn't need an explanation there. Get the cost down. Moving on down the line here, Restoring Light. This is your bread and butter. You're going to see a lot of people that overcomplicate healing. Healing, there's 2 steps to healing. First, build a Templar. Second, get Breath of Life. That Breath of Life at this morph, share your inner light with a wounded ally to heal 1900 damage, health basically, and heal up to 2 other nearby allies for 885. So you're healing basically everybody in the group with an instant cast time. You can just spam this, guys. It really, I mean, this should be on both bars at all times because you see, it's very spammable. You can just spam and spam and spam and spam. And the whole time, it's healing everybody. And that big heal on it, the 1900, is going to go to your lowest health guy. So it's just going to switch between everybody. You can spam that and keep people healed. That's really the healing ability. It goes without saying, just that's what keeps everybody healed. Everything else in this tree, don't really need it. The healing ritual, it's a 2-second cast, and yes, you're healing everybody for 2362. Yes, I would rather cast this twice. It's double the Magicka. Your build's built to handle it, and you're healing everybody, and you're not stuck in this cast time. That I don't really see the need in both of these. It don't waste a spot on your bar for it. Restoring Aura, once it gets unlocked, that's pretty good. It's a good one to keep on your main bar once we get down to it. At this level, you don't have that unlocked yet, but once you get it, it gives you minor fortitude, minor endurance, and minor intellect, increasing health, stamina, and Magicka recovery by 10%. Once again, keeping your resources up. And you can cast it to give major fortitude and major endurance to everyone, increasing health and stamina recovery by 20% for 12 seconds. So in the buff phase, when you're buffing everybody for the fight, you've got your tank and your melee DPS stand beside you, and you've just boosted their health and stamina recovery by 20%. That's huge. They're going to love you for that. And then the big one in this, Rune Focus is great, 42 points to get it once again, so it's a later build, won't affect us at 16, but it will give you your major resolve and major ward. That's going to get your physical and spell resistance way up. That's big. You would want that up all the time, but that's later on. Passives, you want everything in this tree. Mending increases healing effects from restoring light abilities by up to 10%. That's a given. It don't really need explanation. Focused healing, increasing healing effects of your restoring light abilities by 15% for allies within the target area of Rite Passage, Cleansing Ritual, and Rune Focus. Once again, extra healing. Don't need explanation. The Light Weaver, increased the duration of Restoring Aura by 10%. The good thing about this passive is up here on your Restoring Aura, notice it only has a radius of 12 meters and a time of 12 seconds. So you cast that in the buff phase and they run to fight the boss, but you're trying to stay back at this 28 meter range. That's where you want to be. You want to be living away from the fight so none of your melee guys have to run to get to you. So what this does is the Restoring Aura, increasing the duration of that, is going to allow you to cast that and not have to run up into that fight to get it back. The only way you could get that buff back up on them is get within 12 meter range, which puts you in the danger zone. don't want to do that. So that's the big thing for this one. The other passes on that, the Rite of Passage and the Healing Ritual, are unnecessary. You don't really need it. And then this Master Ritualist, that's great, especially if you've got an off heal and you can get over there to bring somebody back up real quick. Somebody does die, you're getting them up faster and bring them up with 50% more health off the bat. That's a given. You want 2 points in that as soon as it's available, especially for dungeon runs. It's really good. Weapons, you were only running one weapon, so this is it. Restoration Staff. A couple of abilities here you're going to want, but most of these are going to live on your back bar. And quick explanation on that: you're going to have a main bar, which is going to have a couple of DPS abilities on it. Breath of Life on both of them, and Inner Light or Mage Light. Mage Light, you want to stay on both bars, because the reason for that, if you switch your buff bar, you're going to have to recast Inner Light if you don't have it on both bars. If you've got that on both bars, it stays up all the time, constantly giving you your spell crit. But we'll get to that in a minute, but you do want that on both bars. Second bar is your buff bar. So you're going to have a buff bar and an attack bar. You live in the combat bar. Stay on it all the time. Switch here, buff everybody up, switch back, go back to laying down whatever you're doing, dropping spear shards, and basically sit back, heavy attack, and Breath of Life if that's what you're doing. But getting down to your buffs here, we don't have all of them unlocked. Regeneration's one you have early. Share your staff's life-giving energy to heal up to 2 nearby allies for 29 health over 20 seconds. So that's a 20-second duration of and it's not taking up one of those major or minor fortitude slots. So this is just an extra heal, guys. Get the major fortitude, get their health regen back up, and then cast this, and the regen's through the roof at that point. Less work for you. You want this on 20 seconds. Most fights are going to be over in 20 seconds. If not, this one's an easy one to recast, and it does have a 28-meter radius. So you want to hit it a couple of times because it's only putting it on 2 nearby allies. So you want to go ahead and get that on everyone. The other one here from this that you want is Blessing of Protection. Slam your staff down to bless allies in front of you, healing them for 857. And it does have a 28-meter range there. So as long as you keep the DPS in front of you, it's going to put it on. It's an instant heal, which is good for the rebuff. It doesn't really matter for the initial buff phase. But when you do the rebuff, having the ability to heal them for just a little bit helps. But the big thing is it's putting this minor resolve and minor ward on them. So most of your tanks and your DPSs are running some sort of major resolve, major ward buff. Your DK, I think it's the hardened armor, volatile armor. For this, it could be rune focus. If you've got Templar tank, it could be rune focus, or in heavy armor tree. Like our tank runs this movable. But you see there, it's major resolve, major ward. Physical resistance. It's a big chunk. That's the big one. Well, you can't stack majors and majors. So they've already got their majors. What this is doing, this will allow you to put your minor on, and the minor is it's 250, but that's an extra 250 armor and spell resist, guys. That's just extra tankiness, unless you're gonna have to heal them. The rest of this you don't have to worry about, but you do want to get this Blessing of Protection. You want to get that on there in regeneration. Avoid this grand healing. A lot of classes run it. You're a Templar, you don't need it, because what this is doing is it's going to put down an AoE heal. You're dropping it. It costs almost as much magic as your Breath of Life. Ticks for less healing, and they have to stand in it. That's a no-brainer. Do not put a point in this. It's a waste of a skill point. You're a Templar, you don't need it. Your healing's better than that. You're better than that. And if you're a Not Blade healer and you think you have better healing than a Templar, then you're wrong. Just kidding. We love you, Not Blade healers, but you're not as good as we are. Then the passives. Passives, you want all of these passives, and this is the main reason for running 2 restoration staffs. Because, like I said, drop a heal, and your main DPS, the way you're throwing DPS, is heavy attacking, because your heavy attacking is restoring your resources and not using resources. But the first passive here, Essence Drain, heals a nearby ally for 15% of the damage inflicted by the final hit when you complete a heavy attack. I think it goes up to 30% afterwards. Extra healing, just keeping people going while you're laying down DPS. Less magic you're using. Restoration Expert, increase your healing by 8% on allies under 30% health. No brainer. You want that on there. You want that as soon as you can get it too. Cycle of Life restores an additional 15% magic when you complete a heavy attack. You want that as soon as you can get it. Building your magic back up. That's why I'm saying heavy attack. A lot of stuff they're cycling in light attacks. Light attacks are wrong. You want heavy attack. And another thing on this, when you hear people say medium weave, one thing a lot of people may not know, a medium attack, if you just hold it for a second, don't fully charge, as long as that says, like it says, complete a heavy attack, that and that, well, both of these are heavy. There's some that will say a fully charged heavy attack. You have to hold that until it cuts itself off. But anything that you hold it for half a second, that they consider that a heavy attack. So cycle those medium attacks in there, get them going. That's going to get your stuff back up. Absorb restores 88 magic when you block a spell. It's good to have on there, but you're probably not blocking. You're going to be dodging most spells. But it's good for like the Warden and Imperial City Prison, stuff like that. Things that you can't dodge, you can't get out of the way of. You have to stand there and block. It is giving you a little magic back for a passive. It's not costing you anything on your skill bar. Get that as soon as you can too. And then the no-brainer here, increases healing with restoration staff spells by 3%. That's a no-brainer. You want all these passes. Going down light armor, same thing. You want all of the passes. Reduce the magic cost of spells by 2% per piece of light armor. These are the reasons we have 7 light armor. We don't. If you're going to be a healer, be a healer. If you're a group healer. Now, if you're trying to go out and you're trying to do Cyrodiil, things like that, this isn't a solo build. This isn't a YOLO solo build to go run around and just quest. This is a purpose-built healing for a dungeon. You should be in the back. You shouldn't be getting hit. You just want your resources up. So 7 pieces of light armor. Stick to that. But this reduces the magic cost of spells by 2% per piece of light armor. So I've got another 14% on top of the 8% that you remember seeing from the Seducers and the stuff on the jewelry. I'm getting the spell cost down to next to nothing, guys. Magic recovery by 4% per piece of light armor. 28% bonus there to magic recovery. No brainer. Spell resistance. The reason I like this, and also the reason a lot of times I'll run the spell resistance boon, is because you're in the back, you're at 28-meter range. The only people that are hitting you is they're either hitting you. It's an archer, which there are some of, but they're not as much, or a spellcaster. So if you happen to get hit by a spellcaster, guess what? You got a little bit of extra spell resistance to help with that. Prodigy, spell crit rating, and spell pen. Both of these. A no-brainer. Get all of these passes as soon as they're available if you've got the skill points. We're not wearing medium or heavy armor. Soul Magic, one of these passes here, that this Soul Shatter your DPSs need, but you don't need. But this Soul Summons here allows you to revive once every 2 hours without spending a Soul Gem. If you're playing stuff at harder difficulty, you're probably going to die. This is going to allow you, the second passive will get down there once an hour. So once an hour, you can come back and save your soul gems for bringing your DPS and your tanks back when they die. And that's really the only thing you need out of this. That ult's really good, and sometimes I'll take that. But it's really a single target ultimate. It's a cheap ultimate with a lot of damage, but Nova's better, so don't really need that. Mage's Guild, the only reason you want Mage's Guild early, which this is good too, we'll get to that in a minute, but this Interlock Mage Light. Summon a mode of Mage Light to enhance your spellcasting, granting you Major Prophecy, which increases spell crit by 371. And then while toggled with the Interlock morph of it, while toggled, your max magic is increased by 2%. All this is, you'll see it and you've seen around people, Bam, there it is. Got my little glowing orb, eyes are glowing, looks cool, got a little blue fire coming from my hands and shit. Now that it boosts my spell crit, so the chances for me to crit with my heals or with just random damage abilities is up. And this stays up, guys. You just cast it one time and for 352 magic. You cast it when you first go into the dungeon. As long as you've got this on both bars, then it's up all the time. Just stays up. No brainer. Get down both bars, keep it up. It's that good. You want to keep that running. Don't really need anything out of these your Cyrodiil bars for your healer. For classes, I want a Breton. You can go with High Elf. Really, Breton and High Elf. Those are your classes. You want one of the two of those. There are other classes you could take, but for the sustain, if you can, you really want to go with one of these two classes. Light armor affinity on the Breton. It's going to increase my experience gain with light armor skill, getting it up to get those passes I was showing you. It's really good. Gift of Magnus, increase max magic by 7%. That's great. You want to get that up for obvious reasons, sustain. Spell resistance by 320%. That's another good one. That's going to be, not 320%, but by 320 points. Another kind of no-brainer there. Get that up, and then you're once again reducing magic cost of spells. I don't know if y'all see a common theme here, but we're getting down where we can spam that Breath of Life. You should be able to, once you get this build rolling, you should be able to just spam that bad boy and just stand right there and just keep everybody invincible. It's the reason it's the battery build that Deltia calls it, because you never run out of magicka. You keep everybody else going. The only person that you're not really sustaining with this build is your magicka DPS, and they've just got to get geared to get their magicka up. They've got a lot of options on that, so that's really going to be up to them. But guys, basically that's what I'm running right now. I'm hoping in this run, we're going to do a run here in a little bit. I'm hoping to get this Blessing Protection. It will go here. This spot stay open for a flex spot. And I'm not even worried about an ult here, because you're not casting an ult from your back bar, and I like having that spot open because, let's see if it's showing here. When I switch back and forth between these, it's not going to show the bar, but I like having a visual indicator when I switch back and forth and I see the ability bar pop up down the bottom. I'm going to notice it doesn't have an ult. It helps me keep track of which bar I'm on and what abilities are going. But one thing I do on this, because this Mage Life, or this Breath of Life, is really important. It's your bread and butter skill as a healer. You want that available at all times. Keep it on the same button on both bars. You see that there on both bars. It's on the same button. This way, even if you're over buff, if you switch to your buff bar and you start throwing down buffs, somebody gets smashed, you've got Breath of Life. You've got a button. You get used to. For me, it's right bumper. It always has been on the heal. But you get used to a go-to button that you press that button and it heals everybody. Because you're going to spend most of your time watching people's life bars up in the top left. And you want a button that if you see that drop, somebody gets hit, they may get crit on, it might take 3/4 of their life. Bam, you hit that right bumper there, and you can just hit it a couple of times and get them back up to full life. But you don't want to be fumbling around your buttons trying to figure out where your heal is at. But guys, that's basically it. It's a pretty self-explanatory build at this point. Because you're running with lower stats right now, keep your Mage Light up. Stay on your main bar for the most part. Buff right before you run into the fight. Everybody should group on you. You buff. You get your regen up, and then you'll hit your other if you have Blessing Protection, go ahead and get that up. But once you have that going, you switch back to your main bar, and then maybe throw in your Dawn's Wrath ability every once in a while. But basically, you're sitting back, just spam it. Spam your Breath of Life. Watch the heal bar. If they drop down, if they get to half health, spam it. Get them back to full. And you see, I mean, just standing here with not even heavy attack, and you see, and my food's not even running, how much you can cast that ability. You can keep it going. And this is with standard gear, guys. But once again, this is Alcohealik. ObsidianGuard.org is where you can find us at. then you can check us out. It's Delv Hammer. Just go on Twitter, look up Delv Hammer. You'll see all of our stuff when we're running. 4-man group. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, post it in the comments below. I'll try and get back with you. But Mad Dog again, Mad Dog Gaming, Alcohealik, Delv Hammer. Peace.